Well, again, it's my honor. I'm Pastor Dan, and I get a chance to talk about God. Whether you're a patient or a family of a patient or you work in healthcare, these are questions and issues that everyone wrestles with. Let me tackle prayer today. It's probably the most common question I get as a pastor is, how does prayer really work? I've wrestled with it really all my life. I asked the question to everybody I saw. I said, does prayer really get God to do something that he wasn't willing to do before? So we have this idea that somehow prayer is going to flip God. That God, if you just start, the default is no. He's not going to do it. You ask him to heal your grandmother or help you, whatever, get into school, whatever you want to do. No. The answer is no. He doesn't going to do it. But now we say, no, I don't want to accept no. I want to somehow flip God over to the positive side. So if I can just say the magic words, if I can learn the right words to the prayer, if I could somehow get someone else to pray for me, if I could get a higher person up the chain, maybe if I could get the pastor to pray, or if I could get the conference president to pray, or if I can get the chaplain to pray, or Billy Graham to pray, whoever I could get, that God listens to them. Or maybe if I can get more people to pray, that maybe God is persuaded by numbers. If I can get everybody I know to pray, and in the Buddhist tradition, they put the flags up so that the flags will blow, and every time a prayer will go. With the idea that somehow in multiplicity of prayers, then God will say, okay, now I get it. Sometimes we think that God is a reluctant God, and we have to persuade him and show him what he has not seen before. How many prayers have we been to where we say, God, this is a young mother, God, come on, God, you can see this is a little baby. That baby needs to have the mother, the husband. What's he going to do without her? God, come on, look at. Or someone has so much pain. God, this is an unbelievable degree of pain. They should not have to suffer this, God. Come on, God, see. Do we really think that God sits in heaven and, you're right. You're exactly right. I missed that. I hadn't thought about that. You're right. Okay, I'll step in. We have to be careful what we assume, that God is picking and choosing all the winners and losers, that God is a little bit slow to kind of pick up on things, and if we can just talk to him, we'll get him in the groove with us. We have to be careful. If we believe that prayer changes God, then it either changes him for the better or it changes him for the worse. Nobody wants it to change him for the worse, so it must be that we change him for the better. Do we really want to say that our prayer makes God more willing, know more, see things more clearly? I don't want to say any of those things about God. You can't get any better than God. So there are many writers, I can give you a list of them, have come to the conclusion that maybe prayer really is not so much to change God, but to change us. You can read Philip Yancey in his book on prayer. I heard him talk about it. Is that prayer is how we join God. He talks about how the snow melts in Colorado. And as the snow melts, it begins to make little rivulets, and then more snow joins and it becomes a little stream. More streams become a creek. Creeks become a river. And then time in Denver, finally it's a lake. And God has one or two people that pray and they begin to come onto God's side. And more people begin to pray and they join God's kingdom and they become part of the miracle making. And pretty soon God has a mighty river and a huge lake of people that will do God's will. My biggest argument is Jesus now. John 17, Jesus is praying to the Father. He said, God, may they all be one as you and I are one. Jesus is not trying to change the mind and heart of God. They are one. They cannot be any more one than they are. They think and heart exactly the same. Jesus says, if you've seen me, you've seen the Father. We're one. So clearly prayer for Jesus wasn't trying to talk the Father from no to yes. Jesus was aligning himself with the Father. I only say what the Father says. I only do what the Father does. So prayer is how you move yourself to be in line with God. We don't want to be just a little bit. We want to be right in harmony with God. So if you have a health issue or you have a financial decision or a parenting decision or whatever you have, you want to be, God, help me. And you put yourself in the middle of God's will, and his voice comes clearly to you, and you begin to become part of the solution to these things. And so God has this vast network in the world. I talk about the internet, the World Wide Web. The more nodes, the more servers you have, the more answers. You go and Google and you have maybe 3 million hits in a second, because all those computers got the signal and they said, yeah, we've got an answer, and here come all the possible answers. And so when God has someone who needs money over here and he sends out the need, someone over here has $50 or $1,000, yeah, I can help with that. You have the need, and God matches, because people are praying to say, how can I be a part of this? And so we all can do what we can to help God. So I encourage you to take another look at prayer. I absolutely believe in prayer. Prayer works. But prayer works best when you and I come in harmony with God. And we begin to bring our needs to him and other people's needs. And then God says, okay, I'd like you to send a book over there. Can you make a phone call? And pretty soon, God has this massive network of believing Christians who are praying. And God uses all of us collectively to do very powerful things, to heal people, make people well in a hospital, develop new protocols, be a church that blesses people. We can be very powerful. We can send a whole boatload of stuff to some place where there's a disaster because we were praying, and now we partner with God. Anyway, think about it. God bless you. It's been a pleasure to be with you for each of these. We'll look forward to doing it again someday. God bless. Thank you for watching Spotlight. We're so excited about this. We hope that you'll subscribe, and so you'll get all of them. And please just forward it on to others and tell other people about it. And let's just see what kind of an audience we can get for these messages of Spotlight. God bless you.